As I was saying, I was talking to Q this morning. I was talking to Q this morning. It was very, very interesting, the directions that he was seeing the way that we were going. Right. And it was really, really nice because he said that they've been following me. Yay. And what I was saying, and they commended what I was doing.
It's done. The deep state collapses. The best is coming now. The official announcement of martial law and a legitimate military government has been in effect since 12 a.m. on January the 20th, 2021. The US military government will take control by force of an official media, radio, television, and newspaper across the United States this Friday, the 5th of February. That's today, at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 11 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, or midnight Central European Time. This includes the acquisition of all US channels on the broadcast satellites that broadcast live in Europe. With a satellite reception antenna, who receive US channels can no longer be censored and will therefore find out the truth from Friday evening, February the 5th, which is today.
Well, where are you reading this from?
On my screen.
What's the source?
It's come to me from a very, very good source that's working in high office. So I have had it verified by two different people.
Today is the day, and
today's the day, and we don't like giving out dates, do we, Nick? This is where truth is. When we're told something's going to happen, and it happens, then we can establish that it's truth.
I'm thinking a lot of people are going to be waking up this morning thinking, I don't trust this guy anymore. And his intel, looking into Greg Hallett, who says he's the real king of England. We've found out so much, mountains of information, including him being in part of a sex cult, being the centre point, which was... later, there were so many convictions for the rise of paedophilia that was there. Like, I have done so much research on that, and Charlie Ward was a part of this journey. Saying he sat on the fence, even though he had proclaimed this guy the real king of England. Charlie Ward became famous on the back of this, right? And this guy was a disinformation agent. I am not against Trump. I'm not against Q. I say how I see it. There is truth that needs to be seen out there, but there's many people taking advantage of the situation we're in right now, where a lot of people are scared and vulnerable, and a lot of people are looking for answers, especially when it comes to things like child trafficking in particular. And Charlie Ward gives a lot of those answers, and he also seems to be this perfect guy in terms of being endeared to him. You know, he's got this personality. I am here to tell you that there are certain people, and Q will tell you this if you look at Q drops, be aware of people profiting off of this movement. There are people out there that are selling books, selling mugs, selling t-shirts. There are people out there that are saying that they know inside information. I'm starting to think that Charlie Ward believes that whatever contact he has, if he does have one, is real. But all indication would say it's not. Is the truth that he's giving you, is this real truth, or is it hopium? Guys, all I'm asking is you look at all 30 reasons. You can do whatever you will with the information afterwards. Never have to listen to me again. Right now, in these times with these lockdowns and this whole pandemic, and I will call it that. All right, screw it. Yeah, pandemic. I mean that. It's obviously planned. And it's obviously having a major effect on the economy, and it's having a major effect on people. That doesn't mean the people that are talking about it are telling the truth, okay, necessarily, or the whole truth, or that they have inside information. What really worries me is the people that are going viral. Even though all of these Q accounts are shut down, even though all of these people that are, you know, speaking about Trump, about Q, all this, they're all shut down. But Charlie Ward and Southern Parks have gone rampant and gone viral. So I've researched 30 reasons I don't trust Charlie Ward. Please watch them to the end. They're spread out across and varying in importance. Number 18 for certain will make you feel sick, but you need to watch all 30. If you don't watch all 30, you will miss out. You will be not privy to information, even though you might be privy to all 30 reasons, because Charlie speaks about a lot of them, but people still just trust him afterwards, and he goes, yeah, but that was in the past, now I'm all about the truth, and Jesus loves you. Listen to all 30 reasons. If you still want to listen to him, fair enough to you. It's time that we look at who's sharing information, why we're listening to them. So, without further ado, this is 30 reasons I don't trust Charlie Ward.
Number 1. Nero Vodka sponsorship. Back in early 2020, when Charlie Ward started his YouTube channel, he was only getting a few hundred views. However, he seemed to be sponsored by Nero Vodka from the offset. I find it shady that a brand new YouTuber would be sponsored by a large vodka distributor. Now, Charlie tells us that he has a lot of money and he's living the good life. Why would he need a sponsor for his YouTube channel that I was only getting a few hundred views?
But here, where it goes back into the hundreds and the very low hundreds, here, these videos are sponsored. This is sort of before the King stuff kind of came out. Not that he wasn't aware of it, but yeah, just check the sponsor. You know, he's got getting less than 100 views on a video, and he's sponsored by this Rosicrucian, Greco-Roman, Knights Templar, symbolic vodka, of all things. Sipping vodka. And to be honest, in a lot of these videos, he looks totally smashed. But here, yeah, we're going down to the hundreds of views, 80 views, 100 views, 100 views, you know? Sponsored by the vodka.
I'm being sponsored by Nero. Premium vodka. What more can I say?
Number 2. Selecting made for kids on his YouTube channel. As a YouTuber, I know when you put out a video, you have an option to select made for kids. Now, I don't do this because I believe that my videos are not appropriate for children to watch. Do you think that Charlie Ward's videos are appropriate for children? Would you let your kids watch it?
Multiplayer is off for made for kids videos. Another little anomaly. All his videos, every single one of these is selected to be made for kids, which I'm sure as many of you know that make content yourself and upload to this platform, you have to select very specifically whether it's made for kids or not. And yeah, all of his, every single one says that it's made for kids. Oh my goodness, see, that's what I mean. All his videos are made for children.
Number 3. Promoting his child's TikTok account. Now, this one is more WTF than reason why I don't trust him. Charlie's son introduces all of his videos. At the end of the introduction, he asks the viewers to follow his TikTok. Asking his adult viewers to go and watch videos of his underage son dancing is weird, regardless of whether he tells YouTube that his videos are made for kids. Charlie states that he's done an online psychology course. It makes me wonder whether he's using this as a social psychological manipulation tool to endear his viewers to him. Either way, it's inappropriate.
Yeah, who would exploit their child like that? Very strange, I think.
E.D. Panasaur told me that I am on the 15th dimension, and 15th dimension is the highest dimension you can get to.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. 15th dimension. Wow.
He sees things very clearly.
Number 4. Moving money around for the elite. Charlie states that he was involved in moving large amounts of money around for the elite, people in positions of power and government officials. This instantly rang my alarm bells, and it should do yours.
I've worked behind the scenes with government now for at least 15 years, moving currency around the world. And so I've been doing that for a number of years. I've always been between the super rich and governments. And you tend to find that they're both interlinked. And that's, I don't know, 20 years ago, I suppose. Sure.
And it started like that, where people needed money. Nowadays, the world is, if it's cash, it's got to be dirty. And what people don't realise is that, there's a lot of dirty cash out there, of course there is, but there's an awful lot of clean cash out there. I've been moving money around the world for a number of private clients.
Wow, Charlie. Are people serious?
Number 5. Charlie brokered oil deals. Back in 2009, the Daily Mail reported on Charlie Ward's son's death. In that article, they described Charlie as an oil tycoon. Now, Charlie denied this, and he'd said in videos that he didn't know where that had come from. Now, when I interviewed him, he said that he wasn't an oil tycoon. He said he didn't know where that came from, but he had brokered oil deals. And then he seemed startled when I showed him his LinkedIn account, which I'd researched, that said that he'd spent 8 years in the oil and gas business.
It was reported in the newspapers, and it had said that you were an oil tycoon.
No. Okay. I've done oil deals because I work at my offices in Dubai. And it has been for the last 12 years. I've done a number of oil transactions. But that doesn't make me a tycoon. I don't know where that came from.
You fixed a couple of oil deals. You bought a few.
Brokered a few deals.
Yeah, but you wouldn't say that you were in the oil business.
No.
In here though, on your LinkedIn, it says that you were 8 years in the oil and gas.
This is brokering deals. This doesn't make you a tycoon.
Number 6, doctor fraud. In his 20s, Charlie states that he ticked the wrong box in his driving licence. He ticked the doctor box. He states that he used this to get out of parking fines. Charlie would then go on for nearly the next 40 years, using the title doctor in everything from his YouTube channel to official documents to even registering companies in his name. Charlie only then revealed that he wasn't a doctor after receiving pressure from his viewers to reveal what his non-existent doctorate was in.
I can categorically say as well that I've never ever changed my name from the day I was born.
Sure. Not even to doctor?
Oh no, that you know the story with that. That was when I think I was about 20 or 22. I mean 40 years ago. And my license came through and I just ticked the doctor box.
Yeah.
And it came back Dr. Charles Henry Ward. And I used it once against a parking ticket, and it came back that the parking ticket was thrown out because I was on call. And it was just me being cheeky in my 20s. I'm 60 now.
Yeah.
So it stayed there all my life. Having said that, I've actually done an online degree in psychology. But it's very interesting that people who've been to university don't tend to respect if you've done an online degree as a real degree.
Number 7, timeshare salesman. Now, I know not every timeshare salesman is a con man, but I thought his years selling timeshares is probably noteworthy.
But I did wonder, how do you get into that sort of line of work, like moving big money around? I mean, what is your background? How did you get into that?
I was in the hotel and timeshare business for most of my life.
Okay.
Number 8, head of security of all prisons in the UK. Charlie states that at one time he was the head of security in all prisons in the UK. Now, if Charlie is telling the truth about this is an extremely high-profile job for a timeshare salesman. Just how did he manage to get this job?
Providing advice and systems for the security of prisons in 3 countries.
That was 25 years ago. For 3 years, I was doing the access control and closed circuit television for all the prisons in the UK for a company called Sensormatic. 147 prisons, because that's the maximum break in snooker. That's why I remember it was 147 prisons in those days. And I visited every single one of them. I was given the worst street in Bristol to knock the doors on, which was all sort of Pakistani shops going up Gloucester Road that wouldn't spend a penny on anything. And I just knocked one door on Gloucester Road that nobody had ever knocked before, which was the prison. And Bob Dixon was the governor, who I remained friends with for many, many years. And we started off by doing his visits, which was an area of concern because there was a lot of contraband coming into the prison. They wanted to stop it. And from there, the next prison I did was Exeter, which was Toby Newth, the governor, and became good friends with him because they gave me an insight. The 2 of them gave me an insight to the whole prison service.
Sure.
As to what was going on and where their weaknesses were. And it went from there. And it's very much, because it's almost like a brotherhood, the prison officers association, and they talk to each other and say, oh, you want to have a word with Charlie, he can sort out this problem and this problem. And it just grew and grew and grew.
Number 9. He was part of a cult. Charlie grew up being a part of the religious cult Plymouth Brethren. This was the same cult that Aleister Crowley was a part of.
Go back to your humble beginnings and the cult that you say you came from, the Plymouth Brethren.
Yes, I come from a Christian background. The Plymouth Brethren, in a nutshell, is similar to Baptist teaching. Very similar, but they've added and taken away things I didn't like. But from a point of view of Jesus loves you, I think that's a good thing to teach people. But if everyone else thinks you're a twat, then so be it. Or everyone else thinks I'm a twat, so be it. Doesn't matter. What people think of me has never bothered me.
As you came out of the cult, obviously you say you were brainwashed, quote unquote.
Well, that's one point that the British don't like you using. They call it indoctrination, which is exactly the same thing, but a posh word.
Yeah. So you're indoctrinated.
Yeah.
What religious viewpoint did you take after you came out of the cult? Biblically speaking,
I didn't believe in anything, mate. I didn't believe in anything. I went the opposite way.
Number 10. Parental discrepancies. In separate videos, Charlie has described his mother as a Harley Street dentist, a farmer's wife, and also an alcoholic. Now, although all these descriptions are plausible, I find them to be an unlikely mix. But who knows? Maybe she was into animal dentistry. Number 11. Promoting a fake king. The apparent King John III. Now, this is a big one. Charlie's big breakthrough came from promoting a fake king, Greg Hallett, who was stating that he was the rightful king of England, as well as holding the title Christ. On doing this, Charlie went from hundreds to a few thousand followers to tens of thousands of followers. He later stated that he was on the fence around this whole situation. However, this is simply not true.
We have the absolute pleasure to be joined today with Greg Hallett, the real King of England. He has a bunch of titles and fulfills all the predictions.
God save Donald Trump. God save our children. And God save King John III.
Charlie later stated that he'd known the truth all along from the beginning, that Greg Hallett wasn't the rightful bloodline to be king. This threw a spanner in the works to this whole narrative and should be a major red flag for anyone listening to him.
And Greg Hallett was getting signs coming to him, and the signs weren't coming to the other guy. So they basically agreed to switch roles. So that Greg's assumed the role that he was going to be King John III and the other guy was going to be the Crown Prince. They agreed. And then they fell out. And that's why all the books of those histories have been destroyed. And I knew that information right from the start. But I just thought, I'm going to give you the airtime and see if you actually tell everybody what has happened. And he's chosen at this stage not to do so. If he chooses to tell everybody that, then I think it would do an awful lot of good. Dave Mahoney knows the truth. Lee Dawson knows the truth. Jack Kidd knows the truth. I'm not going to force him to tell the truth.
At one point, you set up a fundraiser for the king.
I did, right at the very start.
Number 12. Friends with David Mahoney. David Mahoney is an actor that's been in some B-list movies. He also produced and hosted the Hidden King documentary. This promoted the now debunked conman king, Greg Hallett. Most worryingly about his best friend, David Mahoney, is when you look into his past and background. David Mahoney is involved in property sales, and a simple search on his background on the internet will bring up tons of different complaints on scam awareness websites for him scamming people with property fraud.
Scam awareness websites with David Mahoney's name, talking about him selling land in a place called Coconut Grove
Yeah, man, Brazil. South
Brazil,
Spain.
which they say on these complaints, you know, don't trust him. He took money off of us, and then he didn't actually. He sold on the land and then changed his business name. On about someone bought a car off him and it turns out it was stolen.
Yeah, there's land, houses, vehicles, all sorts of stuff.
And you type in his name and it comes up with hundreds of scams that have happened. Right? Alarm bells have got to ring.
This is usacomplaints.com customer complaints and reviews. And here we have David Mahoney, Coconut Grove, James Scarrow, Steve Nash, and a load of fraud or allegations of fraud. So we've got this one here, and there is hundreds more. First scam, Coconut Grove, Mahoney, David Mahoney. There is hundreds of these.
But then I did look into it further, and I found out that David actually works for a place called Marbella Estates. He sells land and property. So, you know, these scams that we found, you know, later gone and found out, well, that's actually is what he does or what he did.
It's not unfounded, man. That's what I mean. It's not pulled out of thin air. These things, this is what he does. He claims, I mean, even himself, he claims he's a fixer.
Number 13, friends with Jack Kidd. Now, if you thought that his connection to David Mahoney was dodgy, you should look into this guy, Jack Kidd. Jack Kidd is a semi-famous polo player and brother of semi-famous Jodie Kidd. He's also the brother of Gemma Kidd, who owns a makeup company whose director is none other than Ghislaine Maxwell. Jack Kidd was also the guy that got Charlie Ward and David Mahoney involved with the fake King Greg Hallett. Jack Kidd's grandfather was Lord Beaverbrook. He owned multiple mainstream media newspapers. And he was also the Minister of Propaganda during World War II for Winston Churchill. Jack Kidd is also connected to the royal family, the Rothschilds. This guy couldn't get even any more connected to the establishment if he tried.
Gemma Kidd Makeup Limited. Jack Edward Kidd, who lives in the West Indies, Barbados to be precise, was a polo player. We've then got Gemma Kidd. Of course, she's the director, 1974, appointed in 2005, British makeup artist. And then this. Wow.
Jack Kidd's your friend, and he was the guy that kind of found Greg, put
That's right.
put you onto him.
Yeah.
So you've known him. I'm guessing you've known him a number of years.
Yeah. He was on the company. He was on the same company which Gemma had.
Yeah, that's right. His name was
back onto there as a director, and I think Ghislaine Maxwell was on there as well.
Also on there, a shareholder, Lord Rothschild, which is quite interesting. Do you know anything about his connection to Rothschild?
Well, I know you know that the families are the Shan Kidds. They're part of the British royal family.
Sorry, say that again.
The Kidd family are linked to the royal family. They're the Shan Kidds, aren't they? Jack was very, very closely linked because of the polo as well.
Yeah. I'm guessing that's what that photo is from, polo.
Yeah, it is. And Gemma was married to one of the dukes or the count of somebody or other.
Number 14. Apparent insider information and parroting information. Now, Charlie Ward interviews a lot of people and puts out a lot of videos. At one point, he was putting out several a day. Now, it has been noted in his interviews, he interviews people, and it's been noted that he will then repeat the same information as if it's his fresh insider information in, the next interview, as if it's come from him. Other information he's been saying has been repeated in all of his videos. So the claim to insider intel or having someone inside the Trump administration who is giving him information, that's questionable. We'll talk about that more later. However, what you'll notice him doing a lot of the time, as if he's agreeing, like, I already knew this, he throughout most of his interviews, he nods away. He nods in agreement as if I knew this. This is information that I was privy to.
Number 15, veiled threats. Now, Charlie had a falling out with Chris Rice of Rice TV. Chris Rice gave Charlie some ultimatums to get back to him around the whole Greg Hallett situation, the fake king. Charlie decided to stop contact with Rice. Now, after my interview with Charlie, Charlie said he would get back in contact with Rice, which he did, and then Rice did an interview with Charlie. In that interview, Charlie explains how he had two choices, he says. He could either completely ignore Rice, or he could send the boys round.
I'll have another chat with him without any problem at all. But
I did what I needed to do. There was no point in rehashing it. I'm not trying to be like M. Seeker of Truth or this Justice guy who are just harping on it, and that's all their channel is about, is just trying to create. Now, you want to talk about drama?
Yeah. Well, these two guys, you have to understand, I've spoken to both of them, and both of them, you can tell just by talking to them that they pinned all their hopes on him being a real king. They'd really put themselves in that position where they wanted him to be king. And of course, they feel really, really let down. And I understand that, but through the conversation, you know, they both really hoped that this had been true. But
I didn't actually kind of. That's an interesting perspective. I didn't gather that. I'm not saying that what you're saying is not true. I do like M's research, though. He does a great job at researching, and I think he should start trying to expose some other things because he does have some really good researching skills.
He should do. He works undercover.
Yeah, totally undercover. The thing with Greg that I wanted to, you know, I actually thought maybe he would hit me up, contact me, or even one of you guys and say, look, this is the deal. And, you know, please just don't expose this for what it is because we're trying to get people to think for themselves. I really thought that might have occurred at some point, and it never did. And really, I did get a little bit of contact from Greg. It wasn't nice. Me and you kind of ended off on a bad foot. You ended up blocking me on social media. I know I kind of was the American pit bull.
Well, look, there's two ways I could have dealt with you because you were having a little tantrum. So either I just say, look, I can't be bothered to deal with tantrums. You were saying, well, I'll put out all these videos. And I said, fine, do what you want. I've got two choices. I can block you on social media, or I can send somebody around your house to shut you up. And I thought that was the nicer way of doing things.
Well, I mean, I would have had fun either way.
Number 16, closing down his own YouTube channel. Charlie speculated that he'd had a couple of strikes on his YouTube channel and that it would soon be shut down. Now, in the weeks prior to me having an interview with him, he was talking about how he could be shut down soon and he's starting his own platform. And all the way leading up to this, he was promoting his coming setup of a website for people to follow him on there instead. And when it came down to it, after two strikes, he says, we actually witnessed him closing down his own YouTube channel. So I got reports at the time saying, hey, check it out. A lot of his videos are being deleted. His YouTube channel was not being shut down. They were systematically deleting all of his videos. When we saw he still had all of his personal videos on there, that being that of his wedding, that being that of videos of his wife, of his son Justin. So we witnessed this being closed down. Number 17, the Insiders Club. He was talking about how he could be shut down soon and he's starting his own platform. This was the Insiders Club, and one of the main lures for Charlie to come on my channel was not only that I had debunked his links to the Clinton Foundation, which turned out not to be true, or seemed to not be, that I would then talk about his Insiders Club on his channel that you know, could be important if his YouTube channel happened to be shut down. Now, he was putting an intro on all of his videos in the weeks prior to this, telling us that he could be shut down soon. However, he is going to be on another channel that he had set up his own website. This being the Insiders Club, that, you know, on this Charlie Ward website, that he would have a club that you could join for $11 per month or $99
$99 per year to be a part of, especially a conversation, a Zoom call that he would then talk to his followers that pay him to talk to him each Sunday, once a week.
And I've always said I wanted to have my own platform anyway.
Yeah, sure.
That's what I've wanted since coming on this journey, because as much as YouTube is extremely good and I really enjoy it, it's very, very clear that censorship, it's not a free speech platform. It's only free speech if they agree with you. If they don't agree with you, you get struck down. So we were asking, we've been talking about this behind the scenes. So we've now launched our own platform. And now we've had a request, and it's not just one request. I mean, we've had over 800 requests for a subscription service where I can talk to people in a group once a week.
Okay.
Now, I was talking to somebody else who is doing this, and they said, look, I do this, and we do a subscription of €11 a month or €99 a year. And that covers the costs of the guys behind the scenes that are going to do it all.
So with my intel telling me that Charlie's last weekly chat had 2,000 participants, that's 2,000 times $11, which is $21,000 per month. If you split that up into 4.5, so if you do that as a weekly, it's $4,666 for a Sunday's work. Not bad, huh? So anyone that's thinking that he is not profiting of this endeavour is really mistaken. Number 18, the White Rabbit. There was massive controversy when big Q accounts, including John Galt and Santa Surfing, called Charlie Ward out on the fact that he had a white rabbit in the background of all of his videos. When questioned on this, Charlie swiftly blocked John Galt. The question was around the symbology of the white rabbit, that in fact that it meant human trafficking and child trafficking. So why was Charlie Ward presenting this in the background? Well, I investigated.
Let's talk about this controversy, because I don't understand.
Oh, that was hilariously funny for me, anyway.
So you know, they pointed out this white rabbit, and what you know.
This one's just for you.
Oh, you got it there. You know, what I've heard from a few people. I've said that you'd given a couple of different answers. What was it on the poster?
It was very, very simple. We were doing a transaction, and one of my guys said, if we've started work, stick a white rabbit up on your picture behind you. It was that simple. We were doing something that was discreet, that you don't talk about on the phones, and he just said to me, if it's a go, stick a white rabbit up. Now I stuck it up there on the day, and it caused absolute mayhem, which was brilliant.
So I mean, I've seen a few of your videos, Charlie, and you know, I'm very interested by what you do. I know you do a lot of videos. I thought I'd seen that white rabbit for a while, and I just saw it as part of the background, but maybe I'm wrong. Was it just, did it go up that day and suddenly?
It went up that day and it came down that day, and it's amazing how people read into things.
You know, the white rabbit is a name for human traffickers, and this is why it was.
No, it had nothing to do with that. Had absolutely nothing to do with that. The white rabbit, in my opinion, had to do with Alice in Wonderland looking down a rabbit hole. That's where I know it from. There's always other people's interpretation. But that was nothing to do with that either. It was all to do with the question that I was asked to do with our own business. That had nothing to do with anything to do with social media. And it was just simply just an answer that we'd started work on a certain project.
Number 19. Charlie procured underage girls for pop stars on the Top of the Pops. This is disgusting, and I'll let him explain.
Really? Many, many years ago, I was involved with a certain television personality that allowed me access into the BBC. I used to be able to get onto a very famous program called Top of the Pops. And a lot of the girls would say to me, Charlie, get me on top of the pops. And I could take probably 5 or 10 girls on a week. And I said, well, I'll take you on, but you'll end up having to shag the bloke that, if you know, he'll probably want to shag. And they were like, no problem, we come, you know. And there was never a problem.
Right.
Now 30 years on, and their marriage is dissolved and they're in their 50s and 60s, it's suddenly become a problem. It wasn't a problem all those years ago.
Right, exactly.
And I remember these girls saying, I'm quite happy to come there. So I'm very, very careful. Now, there is a lot of bad things going on for definite. And there was bad things going on there because a lot of these girls were young girls, you know. And back in the sort of 80s, I didn't think anything of it. The moral compass was out of sync, I think, then.
Number 20. Charlie doesn't care about the mental health of you or I or any one of his viewers.
Potentially with what his sisters have said about his bipolar and this being such a big claim, could you have aided someone with delusions and serious mental health issues in their fantasies?
I think if you're the new mentality, you would agree with that, but I'm not into that at all. I think there needs to be more men out there with backbones. At the moment, we're in a world full of jellyfish who everybody gets offended at everything and everybody's worried about everyone's mental health instead of standing up for yourself and being a man. And that's why one thing I like about you. You've got the bottle to stand up there and say something, whereas a lot of these wimps haven't. And, you might offend somebody. The truth doesn't give a shit about your feelings. That's fact. And this is one thing that we need to get through to. We need more people like you and them standing up for what's true instead of, I might upset them.
Number 21. Not so exclusive cufflinks.
What a lovely gift. A presidential pair of cufflinks with Donald Trump's signature on the back of both. These can't be bought. These are gifted because they're in red.
Come on now, people. You are smarter than this. All you have to do is go and have a look on eBay. And straight away, there you go, look. Cufflinks, presidential, with initials. I mean, 56.95. I mean, it's as if he doesn't actually care if you believe him or not. Before Biden was president, you could easily buy these in the White House gift shop, and you could find them on eBay, the exact same ones with the in red with Donald Trump's signature on the back for around $200. Collectible memorabilia, nothing else.
Number 22. Insider intel and apparent CIA links. Charlie's claims to having intel and links to ex-CIA operatives is very questionable, and he has made a lot of assertions that of predictions, well, not predictions, of intel that he says is going to happen, which hasn't materialized so far. These range from apparent mainstream media blackouts to Trump coming on the emergency broadcast. The most notable one was his absolute certainty in ensuring his viewers that Trump would serve 4 more years as president.
Are you a CIA operative that has been hired to disperse disinformation to either confuse us or calm us down? Any truth to any of that?
No, absolutely not. The only contact I've ever had with anybody to do with the CIA is Robert David Steele, who was a former employee. Yep. I've got 2 other former CIA operatives who contacted me. They used to work for the CIA, and they gave me first-class intel, but they didn't want me to name them publicly because they're currently working with the Trump team to expose what's gone on in the past. I was offered 30 years ago the chance to go to a Masonic lodge and chose to turn it down for whatever reason. Probably just God had his hand on me and told me not to go anywhere close to it.
You feel or felt firmly committed to the fact that President Donald Trump will, in fact, have another 4 years in office. Now, is there any part of you that has plan B in mind? Is there any part of you that, okay, looks like Biden might actually get in? What now? What do we do next? Any part of you that has a plan B with regards to that question?
The only plan B that would even come anywhere close to reality is if John F. Kennedy Jr. was alive and took the place of Donald Trump. That's the only thing I could see.
Goodness. All right. So still firmly committed and confirmed to the fact that Trump will be in.
100%.
He even claims to have met Osama bin Laden, who some researchers say that was actually a CIA operative. He says that Osama bin Laden was a really nice guy.
Bin Laden, who I think the absolute world of, or did when he was alive, bless him. He was a lovely, lovely man. Sadly, he died of old age, which was a great shame, because they killed us a double or whatever it was. But as a gentleman, what a lovely human being he was. And people said to me, well, that's different from what I knew.
Number 23, Stillness in the Storm. On January the 18th, 2021, Charlie did an interview with Doug Billings. In that interview, he starts, as he does in many of his videos, to talk about some of the information, breaking news information that's been sent to him. Check this out.
Everything will be exposed sometime between Sunday afternoon and Monday night. And this has come directly from somebody very high up in the military. The timer has been set for the 2 particular days during the time the emergency broadcast system will be activated. This came from a Marine that was at the CIA headquarters. The US Marines raided the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, in Langley, Virginia, this past weekend. The Marines retrieved a lot of evidence implicating well-known politicians of embezzlement, election rigging, identity fraud, assassination plots, murders, domestic terrorism, and paedophilia. I've listed the following 23 items for your interest to summarize. Number 1, the CIA headquarters was raided and the FBI has been neutralized, and 35 trillion US dollars of US Treasury embezzled funds have been recovered.
Now, this was being presented as brand new information that was sent to him. However, there is a website called Stillness in the Storm, which reports on information like this that's been sent in. And this was actually word for word. He is reciting a post that was made in 2017. How's that for reliable intel?
Number 24. Recent affiliation with Simon Parkes. Simon Parkes is a former Labour councillor. Simon tries to sell those 5G protection USB sticks, which is simply a scam. He shut down his own YouTube channel, just like Charlie Ward. Recently, he has been saying that he had a portrait commissioned by General Flynn, and he's selling prints of that. What's most concerning is how viral these guys are going, and people are believing them and not being concerned about anything that they've said or done in the past. I recently made a video on Simon Parkes. Please feel free to watch it on my channel. In that video, I show him telling us that the mainstream media, and Charlie's agreeing, the mainstream media is going to be shut down by the 13th of January, which of course did not happen.
Hours, all the big media channels were going to go down as well.
All the big media channels are going to go down. These are, guys, when they make these claims, these claims, the words mean something.
And what I hear...
Look at them nodding their heads.
Thing, Simon?
Yes, but I thought it was going to happen on Wednesday.
So did we? Tuesday, Wednesday? Tuesday, Wednesday.
Number 25. Pre-recorded inauguration. Now, Charlie's intel was proven wrong when Biden was inaugurated. I had speculated that Charlie would come up with a new narrative straight after. Charlie then had told us how he had received the a pre-recorded video of the inauguration 10 hours before. Now, in a separate video, he told us how this was 7 hours before. Whilst making this video, I made sure to note down that I was going to talk about this. However, during making this video, he actually made an admission that he was duped. He was sent a video of the swearing in of Vice President Biden 8 years ago for Obama. Man, how could you screw this up?
For most people who follow me, they know that I published the video of the inauguration 10 hours before it happened.
Yes.
So that tells you something.
The recording, yeah.
It was a recording. I've since found out that we now believe that the video that was sent to me about the inauguration 10 hours before was 8 years before, when he was inaugurated as
Vice President.
Obama's vice president. So somebody was being a bit playful. But what it did do was it got you, the people, to go out and ask questions. And that's better than anything.
Number 26, Nazara Gazara and the redistribution of wealth. Plus Charlie's promotion of selling gold, silver, and also promoting people selling Forex at inflated prices, including dinar.
The other thing is we're getting an awful lot of people asking us about gold and silver. And I've always been an advocate of gold and silver. And myself, I'm not in a position to give financial advice. I'm not qualified to do so. I'm just going to tell you what I've personally done. I've personally bought gold and silver, and I've used a company that I trust, which is shown below here. They've always looked after me well. And if you order from them more than £250 worth, you get a free 1 ounce silver coin, which is very, very nice. It's a nice little gift. As I said, I'm not qualified to give the advice, financial advice, but it's just what I have done personally.
Then just before it, Charlie Ward. But if we go into it, we can see that he's pushing these few things that I've just referenced previously. The bullion by post, the same as Charlie Ward, and also this dinar effects UK. We'll have a look at in a moment. But here is Mr. Nicholas Veniamin.
Hi everyone, it's Nicholas Veniamin here. Welcome to my new channel. Now, if you're looking to join the silver boom, I recommend you head over to bullionbypost.com, which is where I buy mine. If you place an order of 250 or more for the first time, Bullion by Post will send you a free silver 1 ounce coin, and I will leave the link below in the description. If you're looking to buy dinar dongozims, head over to ukdinarfx.com and quote the discount code DINAR2020 to receive a special discount.
Hi guys, so it's Justice back again, and as I was saying previously, if you would like to purchase some Iraqi dinar IQD, you can come here to ukdinarfx.com, and we've got lots of them on sales. If you'd like to buy a bundle of 10,000 Iraqi dinar IQD, it's going to cost you £65. We know that Iraq is going to be the very first place to be financially liberated in this new global reset, this new world system, this new glorious golden age that we're entering now.
Yeah, Nicholas Veniamin and selling overinflated Forex. That it is currently at a 5-year low right now. It would have been a bad financial choice.
Number 27. Mainstream media mentions. Over the last month, I've seen 2 articles, one from the Times, one from the Daily Mail, that names Charlie Ward and talks about his channel. Now, as I'm sure many of you will know, it's not normal for mainstream media newspapers to kind of advertise the work of truthers. And what you'll find they especially don't do is put a product placement for books written by these people. So regardless of what the article is actually about and what spin they put on it, this is absolutely advertisement of Charlie Ward in mainstream media newspapers. Number 28. Merchandise. Now, as well as selling himself or selling his time in the Insiders Club, he's also got a lot of, Charlie Ward's got a lot of merchandise available to buy. This includes things ranging from hoodies, t-shirts, cups, and of course his latest book. And now he's going on to write a second book. You know, I get it. Us content creators, we do spend a lot of time on our work, and I can't fault someone for, you know, making a little bit on the side through merchandise. If people want to buy these things, you know, and support these channels, you know, that's absolutely fine. For me, the scope of merchandise available through Charlie Ward, I think this irks me because it would seem that it's not a simple selling of a few mugs here and there. It seems to be a cash cow, a money generator. He is raking it in at the expense of giving truth to people. And he's not even just giving truth, also kind of selling the truth through various endeavours. Number 29. Uncensored and viral.
All these Q accounts that are being blocked, suspended on Twitter, as well as all of the channels that are being taken down on YouTube. Look at them all. Hang on a minute. What?
Now, I do not condone censorship in any shape or form. Everyone should have a right to for free speech on their platform. That's not my concern. I don't want his channel to be shut down. However, all of these Q accounts, truther accounts that are being shut down, channels being shut down. So I'm wondering why Charlie Ward is, going viral. He's #1 trending on BitChute. He's in the mainstream newspapers. I'm wondering whether he and people like Simon Parkes are being let to continue to speak because they will later discredit the truth movement or the Q movement. Are they borderline being promoted because they are off the mark?
If you look at all of his content now, all of the comments are turned off. Now that just basically leaves them impervious to any kind of free speech over their platforms. No one is seeing anyone talking about how dodgy this whole thing is. No one is trying to show people how concerning and suspect these guys look. So people are just eating it up and they're not seeing anything just to tell them to flag to them not to.
And I'm going to go to BitChute and we're going to go to top trending. Here's the trending and look who it is on the top, 195,000. Look, there's, is that Charlie Ward again? Yep, Dr. Charlie Ward in #2. Charlie Ward's all over the place. BitChute, YouTube, he's just got an open door.
Number 30, gut feeling and instinct. There's no better friend to yourself when you are trying to seek the truth and do your research than your own intuition and your own instincts, your own gut feeling. Especially when you're listening to someone and trying to discern whether they're being totally honest with you. I can understand why people relate to this guy. He's positive, he likes to give a positive message, and he tries to give hope. I'm not trying to squash those hopes, and there's totally could be things going on behind the scenes. What my question is he selling hopium? Is the things that he's saying building people up which will then crush them afterwards when they find out that nothing materializes? And that's why I'm doing this. One more thing people are saying to me is where General Flynn recently said,
I'm just going to ask you some questions, and I want you to just tell me if it's nonsense or if there was anything to it at all. Number one, did President Trump ever sign into action the Insurrection Act?
No. Nonsense.
Nonsense. Is the United States military running the country or just is that nonsense as well?
More nonsense.
Good to hear.
More nonsense.
People are saying to me, well, he wouldn't release this information on a YouTube channel. This information wouldn't be released on the Charlie Ward show either. So why are people suspending this logic that they apply to General Flynn's information and completely suspending that logic for Charlie and the information on Charlie's channel? This man puts out that he is in contact with Q. Now, I spoke to Q earlier, blah, 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 and this is gaining a lot of people's trust. They really do think that he's talking to Q.
My feelings were, as I was saying, I was talking to Q this morning. I was talking to Q this morning. It was very, very interesting, the directions that he was seeing the way that we were going. Right. And it was really, really nice because he said that they'd been following me. Yeah. And what I was saying, and they commended what I was doing. Good.
I really do believe it's possible that Charlie is an intelligence asset and that he is spinning information for whatever reason. It could be to throw you guys off track. It could be to discredit the truth movement. It could be to steer the narrative. It could be to... All I know is that there's questionable things about Charlie, which I've outlined for you, at least some of them. So all I'm asking you to do, and one really genuine thing that Charlie says is you should do your own research and not trust everything that certain people say. Well, that's right. The Q drops will tell you, 1, be careful who you follow. 2, no outside comms. Lastly, be aware of people profiting off this movement.
What is it about sweaters? What is it about old guys in sweaters? This guy looks like a nice grandfather that you can trust with any member of your family. What is it about putting a sweater on a person and sitting him in front of a computer screen or in front of a camera and having him talking to that camera and a whole bunch of people just suspending their critical thinking and trusting the guy in the sweater? That's what they do with Bill Gates. Hey, put on a pastel sweater for Bill Gates. Everybody will trust it. Everybody turns their minds off and says, oh my God, eugenicist Bill Gates really wants to save us with that final solution. This is great. So they short circuit in their brains, suspend their critical thinking, stop asking questions, and then start parroting the things that Charlie Ward and Danielle and Simon Park say. Well, it's confirmed. Trump signed the Insurrection Act. All these companies are going to go belly up at within 5 hours, and all these news media outlets are going to be dark. You're going to turn them on, and they're not going to be there. And so when this doesn't come to pass, guess what? All those millions of people that they accumulated will still be following them because they are now in the cult of personality. They're not teetotaling Kool-Aid sippers. They're chugging this stuff. They're like they're drunken frat boys funneling Kool-Aid. Funneling Simon Park's Kool-Aid and Charlie Ward's Kool-Aid and Danielle's Kool-Aid and Q's Kool-Aid. It's the Kool-Aid crowd.
So guys, those are my 30 reasons. I'm sure I've missed some. And guys, if you could think of any more, or there's any reasons that you don't trust Charlie Ward, can you please put them in the comments below? If there's enough of them, maybe I'll do a follow-up video. Have a good day. Drop me a like, a comment, subscribe, and please, guys, follow MC Groove Truth.